they thought if I catch hold of this, I will never earn. I will never go to any workplace. I will not earn. How do you balance all of these? And my answer was, Krishna is balancing all of this. I am not doing anything. Yatiraja Jiyar Swami, Vartamana Swami of Yadagiri Yatiraja Matam, he said, how long are you going to work? Leave all of them and come to me. Emperor will take care of you. It so happened that I did not leave the job left me. I would always say, contemplation is of utmost importance. Without contemplating on what we learn, there is no use learning 100 things. Even if you learn 1 or 2 things, we should contemplate and imbibe it. It should be a part of our life. Whatever little that we learn, that should be a part of life. That is how we progress.
Again. Adiyan Ramanujadasan. Welcome to another episode of Svairalapam. Today we have a very special guest with us. This is Srinivasa Rajan Swami, who is currently living in Kanchipuram. He hails from a town called Thirukkanambi, which has a lot of significance. So we are also going to learn about the greatness of that place called Thirukkanambi. The main reason that made us invite this Swami is that he is an inspiration to a lot of youngsters. He is very well versed in Sampradayam granthas and also tries to implement them as much as possible. Adiyan have observed that he is very strict with himself, and surely he is an inspiration for all of us. Rather than me speaking about him, let's ask Swami about his experiences and how he transitioned from a Laukika lifestyle to Vaidika lifestyle and so on. Swami, welcome to this podcast. Adiyan Ramanujadasan.
Srimade Ramanujaya Namaha. Thank you for inviting me, Swami.
Adiyan. It's a pleasure to have a conversation with Devarir.
Sure. It's a pleasure to be here too.
Adiyan. There is a series called Know Your Vidwan that we have been doing in this podcast. Basically, we try to understand how that Vidwan became a Vidwan and what experiences they had in their life and so on. Adiyan would like to know about Devarir through this episode. So let's start from Devarir's place, which is Thirukkanambi. Adiyan have heard a lot of stories surrounding that particular place, and it is really important for people who are living in Srirangam. It has a relationship with our Ranganatha Swami also. So please elaborate about that place called Thirukkanambi. Adiyan.
Srimade Ramanujaya Namaha. First of all, thank you, Swami, for inviting me to this podcast. It is nothing but your greatness that you are involving me in this series called Know Your Vidwan, but I am not a Vidwan in any way. The only eligibility I have here is maybe I can be inspiring to someone with my experiences. I hail from a small town, in fact a small village called Thirukkanambi. This has a glorious history actually. Thirukkanambi is a place popularly known in our Sampradayam for having Nambarumal and Nammalvar together.
Yes.
Nambarumal and Nammalvar met in Thirukkanambi.
Yes.
That is what our elders have shown. In fact, in the Vyakhyanam of Upadesha Ratnamali, in the Nambarumal Nammalvar Pasaram, he says, Nambarumal and many other Divyadesha Emberuman, they all they visited Thirukkanambi, and Nammalvar was also there. And Nammalvar gets the name Nammalvar for the second time in Thirukkanambi. He gets it some 3 times, and that is one place where he gets the name Nammalvar. So that is one very significant thing in our Sampradayam. Other than that, one thing to say is there are two temples. In Thirukkanambi, there are two temples.
Adin, sorry for interrupting, but Adin would like Devri to elaborate that. Like, many of our viewers may not understand why Namberumal, that is Ranganatha Swami, and Nammalvar met there.
Sure. There is this there is this popular event that is known when there was the Islamic invasion in Srirangam and other Divyadeshams.
Yes.
That is when Namberumal had to be carried out of Srirangam by Pillalokacharya, and Pillalokacharya could only accompany Namberumal up to Jyotish Kudi.
Yes.
That is popularly known.
Which is in Madurai.
Madurai. Yeah. Beyond that, he attained Paramapadam, and his disciples, they carried Namberumal further, and they reached a place that is Thirukkanambi. They entered Karnataka through that place. That Thirukkanambi is actually a border between three states: Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. Okay. And it lays exactly in between these three states. So that is where they entered Karnataka. And from Thirukkanambi, they further moved on to Melkote, that is Tirunarayanapuram. Even to this day, that is popularly known. Namberumal lived there for 12 years.
Yes.
So while in Thirukkanambi, while he was getting all the Tiruvaradharams, there is a popular story that goes like Alvar Tholapar. He found Nammalvar. He was chosen to identify Nammalvar when Nammalvar was there in one of the deep valleys of Kozhikode, which is just next to our place. And Alvar Tholapar had to give up his life in order to save Nammalvar.
Yes. This itself is a very big story. Yes. The travel of Namberumal, that is Ranganatha Swami's Utsava deity, and the travel of Nammalvar and other deities also. So that itself is a very large story. So Nammalvar was found at Kozhikode, while Namberumal was in Thirukkanambi. Yes, Adin.
That is when Nammalvar was brought from Kozhikode. Nammalvar's Tirumeni was brought from Kozhikode by the Sri Vaishnavas to Thirukkanambi. And Namberumal, the legend has it that Namberumal welcomed him with great joy and gave him the same Simhasanam and also presented his pearl-laden garment. And he did the Abhimanam. He joyously called him Nammalvar again.
Yes. So Nammalvar in English means, in Tamil means
our Alvar.
Our Alvar. Yes.
He does the Abhimanam that he is our Alvar. He does not go by the name Shatakopar or any other name. For him, he is my Alvar.
Yes.
Nammalvar. Yes. So that is the second time he gets that name. And from there he stayed. Nammalvar and Namberumal stayed there for some time, for a few months. And then Nammalvar, he continued towards Kerala, and Namberumal travelled towards Melkote, Tirunarayanapuram. That is what the legend says.
Yes, Adin. So we must understand that our elders have, literally sacrificed their lives to save these, idols. Or we can't say the word idols. In our Sampradaya we say Tirumeni, and for that they have done so much. And we must just think about the fact that Namberumal is from Srirangam, and Nammalvar is from Alvar Tirunari, which is almost southmost region of Tamil Nadu. So they have been displaced a lot. They have been displaced a lot, and with the grace of our acharyas, they were saved. We can say so.
Yes.
For
them, that Prameya Rakshanam was of such great importance, they did not even care for their lives. Alvar, Tholapar and all, they sacrificed their life for Alvar. So that is the most significant event that has happened in our Sampradayam. Apart from that, Thirukkanambi has also been the second capital for the Mysore Odayars at one point in time.
Okay.
And those specifically Kantirava Narasaraja Odayar, he had Thirukkanambi as his second capital because he could not rule from the Srirangpatna place. So he reigned from here, and he had all set up to develop warriors and wrestlers. That was a very famous place for developing wrestlers. And legend also has it that he had brought many deities from various Divyadeshams to Thirukkanambi.
Oh.
Even today, many temples in and around Bangalore and all those cities have the Tirumeni, Perumal Tirumeni coming from Thirukkanambi.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of them actually include the famous Abhimana Sthalams and Divyadeshams also. Like Shweta Varahar in Mysore Palace, he was brought from Sri Mushnu. And later another alternate Tirumeni was made in Sri Mushnu. That is what they say. This way there are many Tirumenis. In another Krishna, Kannan Tirumeni in Malleshwaram, he is said to have been brought from Kudalur.
Oh, Kudalur.
Kudalur Divyadesham. Tirukudalur. So in this way many deities were brought. And even to this day, we can see a few remnants, those temples still in Thirukkanambi. So this is a little bit about the history. And if we look at the Kshetra Mahatmyam, the greatness of that, it is told in the Varaha Puranam Uttarakandam. In 6 chapters, he talks about, Perumal talks about the greatness of that place. But not as Thirukkanambi, but there is a small hillock called Vyaghradri. And Perumal talks about the greatness of that, Vyaghradri, which is that same place. And he says, there have been many people who have done the tapas there. Like Adisheshan. And Mandavya Rishi, Agasthyar, and many such kind of people. Perumal has graced them all. In this, the most interesting thing, which is of great relevance to our Sampradayam, is the way in which Perumal has graced Agastya Rishi.
Okay.
Because Agasthyar is said to have gone to the Himalayas in order to attend the wedding of Shiva. At that time, there was some imbalance caused because of all the people going to north, and he was sent to the south. And while coming to the south, it is said that he came to this place in Thirukkanambi, this Vyaghradri in Thirukkanambi, and he meditated on Perumal. Thiruvenkadamudiyan had also already taken his form there. And he meditated upon that Lord and did the tapas. And Perumal is said to have removed his sins, his curses. Agastya was basically cursed by Vishwakarma because while leaving the Himalaya, Agastya was very angry on Vishwakarma because Vishwakarma was the one who suggested that Agastya should go. So he said, okay, anyone who is born in this Vishwakarma community will not earn enough. He will not have the due fame, recognition and such things. For which Vishwakarma also curses in return, saying this was not done for my own good. This was for the benefit of the world. And I am also Deva. So I also have the power to curse you. So take it. Your language of Tamil will be called as a Paishacha Bhasha. The language of all the Pishachas. And you will, being a Brahmin, you will have to eat the meat. And you will have to be a servant of a king. So these 3 curses were spelt on Agastya. He was very dejected and he came here.
So the story basically is that Agastya wanted to attend the wedding which was taking place in Himalayas. So when Agastya moved there was imbalance. Like, the earth itself was tilted towards the Himalayas. So to balance that, Agastya was sent by maybe due to the suggestion of Vishwakarma. So Agastya curses Vishwakarma and Vishwakarma curses back.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Again.
So after this, when Agastya Maharshi came to Thirukkanambi in this Vyagradri, he meditated upon Perumal, and Perumal removes his curses. He says, do not worry, even if you are a Brahmin, if you have to eat meat, that will be for the goodness of the world, and do that just once and you will still be pure. Just like whatever goes into fire, fire does not have the impurity. Same way, even if you eat meat, you will not have the impurity. So that is when he used that opportunity to kill Vatapi. And even while being a rishi, the curse was to serve a king. So he went as the carrier palanquin for Nahusha.
Yes.
So that is popularly known. The third is the most beautiful thing, which is of more great relevance to our Sampradayam, because he says the Tamil language will not be a Paishacha Bhasha anymore. I will make sure that it will be given the status of Sanskrit. It is equal status of Sanskrit. And I will be born as Shatakopa for Kari and as a son of Kari, and I shall promote the Tamil language by translating whatever is there, the gist of Veda, the core essence of Vedas in Tamil. And I also will bring all my Suris to be born as other Alvars. And all of us will have composed the Tamil Vedas. I shall give the status of Vedas to that composition. And I will be most pleased only when those compositions are sung in front of me during the Utsavams.
Yes.
This is one of the very catchy thing that actually held my heart when I read all of this in the scripture. So that is of great relevance, I think, because today the Sri Vaishnavam, the philosophy of the Sri Vaishnava is standing on that very foundation of Nalayana Divya Prabandham. So in that way, this Thirukkanambi has been the originating place for the Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam, maybe we can say.
Of course. Because our Sampradayam is the only Sampradayam which can boast of having two Vedantas, the Samskrita Vedanta and the Dravida Vedanta. And going by the Purana, we can say that, that event which took place in Thirukkanambi led to this. Yes, Adin.
Our family moved to Thirukkanambi about 850 years ago.
Oh, Adin.
There are two brothers, Venkatacharya and Thirumalacharya, who went to visit that Thiruvenkadamudiyan there. And legend has it that Thiruvenkadamudiyan wanted them to stay there and serve Perumal. But they did not heed to it. They thought, okay, this should be some illusion. And they wanted to come down, but they were blinded. They could not find the way. So they said, please forgive us. We will stay here and serve you. And the generation has continued up to this day. So I have the fortune of being born in that family of Archakas in Thirukkanambi, Vyagradri especially. This is a little bit about the place from where I hail.
So Swami, this is was this the place where Devarir was born?
No, I was actually born in Bangalore, but my elders have hailed from that place. Even my grandfather used to stay in the village and do Tiruvaradanam. That is what my elders have said. Up to my father's time, they lived there and then they shifted to Bangalore.
Now let's try to know about Devarir. So, what happened in your childhood, or what was the reason that made you take this leap from Laukika lifestyle to Vaidika lifestyle? I think Devarir was in some Laukika job and all, and then later on transitioned to this Vaidika lifestyle. So there must have been many acharyas, many people who inspired Devarir or guided Devarir to this path. So please elaborate on those people who have had a significant role in Devarir's life.
Sure. But in order to appreciate their grace and efforts, I should first tell you how Laukika I was. I'll just brief a little bit of that on that and then come to the greatness of the people who actually brought me here, where I stand now. Unfortunately, some 2-3 generations ago, people in this lineage, they somehow forgot the Sampradayam. They were into worship of Perumal, that was there. They were very sincere in that. However, the deep knowledge of Sampradayam, the knowledge about the Artha Panchakam, etc., the knowledge about the Divya Prabandham itself, the knowledge about Alvars, Acharyas, all this was unfortunately lost. So, by the time I was born, the family was totally materialist. It was totally a Laukika setting in which I was born. And I spent my childhood as a Laukika. I studied up to engineering in Bangalore. I did my engineering in information science. And then I pursued my master's from BITS Pilani. I completed my master's in, again, information technology. And I worked in several places, including Infosys, Cognizant, and some startups also, like ISAC and such places. During this period, I was not even eligible to be called as a Sri Vaishnava, because as people, elders say, Tirumalizai Alvar is quoted to have said, Samanam Kartom, Sakyam Kartom. I was behind every Devatantara that attracted me at that point in time. I was behind every materialist pursuit that one can ever think of. I was into such a lifestyle. I never knew about Sampradayam, not even one bit, not even the basic Tirupavai. That was all up to college days. That was how I grew as a child up to college days. But then one event changed the entire thing. During one Griha Pravesham, we happened to meet one learned scholar, one Parama Sri Vaishnava, Sri U.Ve Ananta Narasimhachar Swami by name. He was supposed to be the Vadyar, he was supposed to be the priest who officiated that Griha Pravesham. But that aura around him changed the entire scene. It just turned around the entire thing. He talked about not going behind Devatantaras, behind the other Devatas, and he in fact emphasized how, being born as a Sri Vaishnava, we should conduct ourselves. What is a very basic thing that we have to do? Forget all the advanced practices. Very basic thing, not going behind any Devatantara, not going behind any material pursuits. These are the very subtle things he mentioned just once. But that was the turning point actually in my life. As they say, Bhagavata Kataksham is what turns around the Jivatma, and it turns around the Jivatma and brings him to Abhimukyam. There are two Bhagavatas who turned me towards the current state. Initially, it was one Swami by name Parankushachar Srinivasan Swami. He was a Shishya of Ahobila Matam. He was the one who was coming to teach Divya Prabandham to my parents when I was born. Only after I was born, they started realizing things maybe. And they started learning. They wanted to learn Divya Prabandham. They began learning. And this Swami, he was a learned scholar, Parankushachar Srinivasan. Even to this day, his recordings are available, a very melodious rendering of Nalar Divya Prabandham. He would do a very melodious rendering. That Swami used to come and teach Nalar Divya Prabandham to my parents. And all my elders say, I used to call him Apadi Mama. Because he started with Tirupallandu. I did not know to pronounce Pallandu. I used to call him Apadi Mama. And he was very fond of me. He actually wanted to teach everything to me. At that very young age, I must have been around 1.5 or 2 years of age then, or even less maybe. At that age, he did the kataksham. He wanted to teach everything to me. He wanted me to be adhikari. Unfortunately, that did not work out. That's a different thing. But his kataksham is the first step in this. After that, it was a long gap of about 12, more than 13 or 14 years. And after that, that is when or even close to 20 years, 18 to 20 years. After that, I came across this Swami, Ananta Narasimhachar Swami. And he just mentioned that aura, I don't know what made me change. It is not that he talked something which none others told me. Nothing of that sort, but I don't know what changed. His kataksham. I started contemplating on those things. Said, okay, yes, this sounds somewhat convincing. I should follow this. He sounds reasonable. And that is when I turned around. That is when I developed a very keen interest in learning about the Sampradayam. I wanted to know more on what he has told. So initially, at that point in time, the very easily accessible upanyasam was of Sri U.Ve. Velukudi Krishnan Swami. It is not an exaggeration if we say that that Swami turned around more than 2 generations, Sri Vaishnavas. He was also one of the very important person in my life. I started listening a lot to his upanyasams. In fact, I went crazy about them. I started listening very, very intently. And that is when I started learning, okay, as a Sri Vaishnava, there is so much that I have to learn. And slowly that started developing into an interest in kalakshepams. Because he used to mention, kalakshepam is different, upanyasam is different. And this is what you learn and all. So I started looking around for places where I could learn as a kalakshepam. But I still had that materialistic bent of mind even then. It is just that a small sprout was there that I could learn. I wanted to learn about the Sampradayam. Later, I started working in Infosys, and my first posting was in Mysore. In Mysore, I was staying as a bachelor in a single accommodation. That is when this actually the thought came into my mind. Why not? I have some free time. I should search for a nice person to teach me things. And I met my first guru who taught me in person, Sri U.Ve. M.R. Srivatsa Swami. He was working as a priest in the Ontikopal temple, and now he lives in Mysore, the Parakalamatam. He started teaching me very basic Nityanusandhanam and the basic Upanishad parts of Vedas. I learned, and then he looked at my, he actually looked at my keen interest, and he wanted to teach me Pancharatra Agama also. He actually asked me, what is your family background and things like that. And he said, you are hailing from an Archaka family, you should learn Agama. At least to serve your Perumal, you should learn Agama. Forget going around. So I will teach you. And he started teaching me. So that is when I started learning in the Ubhaya Vedanta. I just learned about Upanishad part and Tirupavai, the Nityanusandhanam part, and then the Pancharatra Agama I started learning. And by that time, I had to shift to Bangalore again. So I came to Bangalore, and that again stopped there. That learning stopped for a couple of years. But I was constantly recapitulating all of those things. And I did not discontinue the Upanyasams, Velukudi Swami's Upanyasams. Fortunately for me, Velukudi Swami, at that point in time, I think 2009 or 10, he announced the Vedartha Sangraha Kalakshepam. I said, okay, this is my chance. I should not let go of this. This is the first Kalakshepam that I heard. Vedartha Sangraham of Velukudi Krishnan Swami is the first Kalakshepam I learned live. Live in the sense that was online. That was telecast online, and I learned that fully from him. And from there, the taste for Kalakshepam also began. In fact, if I have to say Vedartha Sangraham, I entered Vedartha Sangraham, that was without any background. But
it's
still,
not a very easy text.
Yeah, it is not a very easy text, and that too without any background of Vedantas.
Sanskritam, maybe.
Yeah, Sanskritam or Vedantas. No background at all. I just delved into it. The only factor that drove me there was interest in Kalakshepam. In fact, I should tell that also. I did not learn Sanskritam. I did not learn Agamam, anything. I did not learn any of these when I was young. Somehow, as I said, we hail from the Archakas family in Thirukkanambi. So when I saw my uncles, 2 uncles, do worship there, I should admit that I had that small interest to learn whatever they are doing. I found it very interesting, and I had that interest, but somehow that did not materialize. At home, they did not encourage that. They did not want me to learn Divya Prabandham. They did not want me to learn Agamam, Pancharatra Agamam. They did not want me to learn Vedas at one point in time, because they thought if I catch hold of this, I will never earn. I will never go to any workplace. I will not earn. I will just stay with these. That was their fear.
Sorry for interrupting, because there's a flow that is being interpreted here. But I noticed 2 things. I wanted to ask about this. One thing is, what is the difference between learning from an acharya through online mode and learning indirect, in person? That is one question I wanted to put. And the second one is, what do you think about this? People being very afraid of their children, coming to this Vairika mode of life, and so on. So these 2 questions, I just asked them now because, I was afraid maybe I'll forget later on.
Sure. These are actually very good questions, very relevant to these days. The main difference between online and direct Kalakshepam is, if I should say, the Sampradayam way itself, the kataksham of an acharya, that is very, very key factor that actually turns us around. It is not that whatever we hear or what we study in the text that changes us. It is a kataksham of that acharya which changes us. So I think it is very important for a person to attend live Kalakshepams more than the online things. And also there will be a personal touch when the Acharyan and the Shishyan are together. There will be a personal touch, and the Acharyan can actually make out whether the Shishyan is learning or he's able to grasp things or not, which is not possible obviously with online.
Yes.
That is the recorded things.
Yes, but to add a point to that, see, I again find that sometimes we don't even know how many people are listening,
Right.
or it's like people know us, but we don't know them.
Right.
Like we have some viewers who watch our videos. We don't know what impact it is creating in them,
Right.
or something like that. So, all these must lead you to an acharya,
Yes.
where you can go and learn in person,
Yes.
so that they can understand how your lifestyle is, and they can advise regarding what changes you can make in your life.
Yes.
And all. So that is lacking, and sometimes I didn't feel that there are people who listen to kalakshepams, online kalakshepams and all, and they don't even know basic mannerisms of our sampradaya. Like usually in a traditional kalakshepam, we prostrate before the acharya, before a kalakshepam, and after the kalakshepam, and whenever we see him.
Yes.
And so there are a lot of things that make us a Shri Vaishnava. Now, during these online kalakshepams, that doesn't happen. And we also find that many people who attend online kalakshepams don't even try to visit that Acharya.
Yes.
Even when they are in town and all.
Yes.
So basically that rapport between an Acharya and Shishya is absent.
Yes.
But, we are now kind of pushed to do online kalakshepams, isn't it so?
Yes, we are pushed. Actually, as the technologies keep developing, I think we should take the good part of it, but we should be very careful about the negatives.
Yes.
Very extremely careful about the negatives that comes tagged along with it.
Maybe they must, put much more effort in learning how to attend a kalakshepam, how to, interact with an Acharya and all.
Yes.
That's mainly lacking.
At least for initially for 1 or 2 kalakshepams, they should attend in person.
Yes.
And get things clarified from the Acharya directly, and then at least seek permission and then learn online with all the necessary discipline.
Adiyan usually say, Adiyan live in Srirangam. So there are people who listen to Adiyan's kalakshepams from Chennai, maybe Bangalore, other places. Adiyan usually say, when you visit Srirangam, at least make some time to visit me. At least I'll know that you are listening. You are this person, you are listening. What you learned from that, what doubts you have regarding those kalakshepams and all. But Adiyan find that most people don't do that. Yes.
That's most unfortunate actually.
Adiyan.
They find it as a convenience rather than an alternate.
It is something valuable that they are getting.
Yes.
But now they are getting it for free. So sometimes maybe they don't understand the value of that object.
Yes.
Because when something is given for free, we tend to forget the value of the product that we are obtaining.
Yes.
That's one thing Adiyan is slightly concerned about.
Many a times I have also told people around me, Thirukkanambi was correct. But of course,
so we must find a balance.
Yes.
Not that we must stop doing everything online.
Yeah.
But we must find a balance, and the listeners also must find a balance.
Yes.
Sometimes they can make time to attend
Yes.
and show that they value whatever they are getting.
Right.
And all. Yes, Adiyan.
That shows their reciprocation, that they have learned something and they are implementing it in their life. Yes.
That is the ultimate goal of what we are teaching, right?
Right.
Adiyan.
And for the second question about the parents being afraid of their children learning, as a first-hand person, as a person who has experienced this first-hand, if the child is very interested in learning this, that is such a big misfortune that in those formative years when the child is able to learn things very easily, it is deprived of those things. That is on one part. And on the second part, it is also a failure on the part of the parents as a duty to bring their child in the now, of course, I will not say the right way. The upbringing will be in a right way in terms of discipline and social conduct. But in terms of the traditional upbringing, there is a huge there is a gaping void there actually.
Adiyan.
Where this leads is that can be seen in me right now. I could not learn in those formative years, in those young years. Now I find it very difficult to by heart those things. I feel very embarrassed sitting in the goshtis when I am not able to recite something by heart. I need a support to see and recite. I am putting all my efforts to learn them by heart, but that has to materialize very slowly. That does not happen over a
the mindset that we must earn money, settle down, retire, and then come to Sampradayam. That's the mindset today.
Yeah.
And by the time they come to Sampradayam, they are weak mentally and also physically.
Right.
So they are not able to do any physical activities like service in temples and all.
Right.
The other thing is they are not able to learn Sampradayam much.
Yes.
Because our mental ability deteriorates significantly after a point of time.
Yes. Not just that, but another thing is they might also lose interest.
Yes, of course.
Our elders show, when Vibhishan Alvan did the Sharanagati, he says, Nivedaitamang Shipram. Why that Shipram there? They lose interest otherwise. What if they lose interest? There is a such a golden opportunity is lost.
Yes.
That is a very, very delicate part that they have to handle. That they should not let go of that golden opportunity. They should do it. Okay, if the child is not interested, he will anyway take a different course later. No one has a control over it. But at least...
Yeah, we are not asking anyone to force anyone.
Of course.
Right. When there is interest on their part, at least encourage that.
Yes.
Even the liberals nowadays, they would say that leave him alone. It is his freedom to choose something. At least leave him alone to learn something.
Yes.
If his wish is to pursue Sampradayam, let him do it.
Yes. So in that way, I missed a significant part of life. I missed a golden opportunity to learn things. But still, there was one positive thing that I got out of this. The way I looked at it later, that actually changed my perspective, and I said, okay, in this case, for my karma, customized to my karma, this is the way it should have been. Because I tend to develop ego very easily. So, if I had learnt all of this, then no one would have been able to catch me and say, sir, you belong here, please stay here. I would have gone around saying, no one can recite like me. That ego would have shown up. So probably that is why Perumal did not want me to learn in those years. Now I feel that lack.
So in your childhood, you were not able to learn Divya Prabandhams and all. And so it was during your college days that you got some interest in learning Sampradayam.
Yes.
And please continue.
So even in the college days when I had that interest, I was not allowed to learn much. My parents were like, you can learn after the college days. So I was very keen on it. And after I started working, I took that as an opportunity. Okay, now I know there is no one to stop me. Let me learn. And that is how I started learning the Nityasundanam and the Veda and the Pancharatra Agama. But after 2010, I had to shift back to Bangalore. And that is when I started going to the Krishna temple. Actually, I attended a school right opposite to the Krishna temple, the famous Krishna temple in Malleshwaram, Sri Vidya Mandir by name. That was such a nice environment actually. When I was sitting in the class, I could see Krishna on the left hand from the window. I could see the temple and the happenings there. That was such a nice environment. However, the Sampradaya part was not there. But later on, because I was so attached to the Krishna temple, I used to play there during the breaks and all. So I started going to Krishna temple when I was back in Bangalore. And that is when I met one of the finest acharyas till date. My first Dhyanacharyan, Shri U.Ve Vaduganambi Rangacharya Swami. I always say he is a Pratasmaranian. I remember every day when I wake up in the morning, I remember 10 people. And the first person to remember is Vaduganambi Rangacharya Swami. He was a scholar par excellence. He was an exponent in 4 Vedas. The Divya Prabandhams along with its Vyakyanams, he had them on the tip of the tongue. He could quote from any Vyakyanam just like that. He knew astrology. He knew music. He was an exponent in Pancharatra Agama. He was a Chatushastra Vidwan. Words fail to describe his greatness. But for such greatness, that person was extremely humble. Extremely humble. That was very moving to see him. And I got associated with him in the Krishna temple. Not in any other way, but I used to drop him home. I used to see he was a very old man at that time. He was more than 85 years of age. I used to call him Tata. I said, Tata, please come home. I will drop you home. You should not walk such a long distance. He was very happy. When I dropped him home, for a few days he was saying, Romba Santosh Anna, I am very happy. He used to call everyone Anna. And he used to say that, but after a few days, after a few weeks, he started telling, if you come to me, I will teach you something. I did not actually take that very seriously for about 1 or 2 years. That was the state of mind I had. I now regret. In those 1 or 2 years, I could have learned a little more than what I did from him. But after that, I took it very seriously, and I approached him, fell at his feet, and requested him to teach me whatever he deemed fit. I did not know what to learn. I wanted to learn the Divya Prabandham, but I said, whatever you deem fit, please teach me. Here is an Acharya who ran behind the Shishya and said, I will teach you, please come to me. And here is a Shishya who ran away from that Acharya for 1 or 2 years and then said, okay, this Shishya showed his greatness and said, okay, you can teach me. Such was my ego. And that is when he started teaching me Upayukta Veda Bhagam and Divya Prabandham. Ubhaya Vedantam he taught me. He also taught me some nuances in Pancharatra Agamam. He used to take me to he used to take some of his disciples to his Swagramam, this is Jatavaram, which is very close by to Bangalore. There is a Keshava temple there, and that belongs to them. That is, the temple is in their control. They take care of that Sannidhi. So he used to take us there, and he used to give us practical knowledge of how to perform things, all the utsavams and all. And Divya Prabandham he used to teach and said, he used to say, you should come to the temple and recite. And the Vedas, I learned the Katakam, Ashwamedam, Achidram, and things, all those Upayukta Veda Bhagas. I learned a little bit of Aruna Prashnam also from Srinivasa Swami, who I mentioned earlier. And Udaka Shanti was learned from him. But the thing is, I don't remember all of them by heart. I can only see a book and recite, because I learned it at much later stage, and in a situation where I cannot do the Tiruvai, the repetitions much, because I get occupied more in other activities. So that was the state. And I learned all of those Divya Prabandhams from him. And he, after that, Vaduganambi Ravangacharya Swami, he actually he did not take a formal kalakshepam session, but he used to always explain the rahasyatrayam. Just casually he used to tell, this is what it says, this is what it says. And that is how I started learning things under his feet. In the meanwhile, before I joined the Infosys, in 2005, I met my Acharya. That was another significant turning point in life, because that Acharya Katakshan was something, I should say it is a miracle. All our elders actually were Shishyas of Embar Tirumalige, who one Embar Swami had actually moved to Karnataka. The Embar Tirumalige record in Karnataka shows that people from 8 Gotras were shifted to Karnataka, and they took their Acharyan, Embar Swami, to Karnataka and the Mysore region to continue their lineage there. Of those, we belong to the Paurakutsa Gotra. So our elders actually took refuge from Embar Tirumalige. But later, at a later point in time, there was no successor. After, I think 1960s or 70s, some point in time then, there were no successors. So my father and people are, in those generations, they actually went and surrendered to Vanamamale Jiyar, Vanamamale Matam. And I thought, mentally I had fixed, okay, Vanamamale Jiyar is my Acharya. After learning from Velukudi Swami Upanyasams and all, I said, okay, Acharya is very important in life. For me, my Acharya is Vanamamale Jiyar Swami. At that point in time, it was 30th Pattam, Kalyan Ramanuja Jiyar Swami, who was holding the Pattam in Vanamamale Matam. So I fixed, okay, Kalyan Ramanuja Jiyar Swami is my Acharya. But it so happened that there was a Samprakshanam in our temple, and we visited. They had invited my Acharya, Kanchi Alagimanawala Jiyar Swami, to that place for Samprakshanam. Then the elders had decided that I should get the Pancha Samskaram from them, from that Swami. They also did not know that much about the Sampradayam. We don't change the Tirumalige or Matam and all. They did not know much. They said, okay, here is a Swami, please go and show your shoulders. Get the Pancha Samskaram done. And Swami also graciously accepted. He said, okay, you are doing Kainkaryam. You want to do Kainkaryam here. And you are coming here, surrendering to me. I will accept you. For me it was a Paragata Swikaram, because I never asked him, saying please administer Pancha Samskaram. But he said, come, I will do it. And he accepted me. Even today I call myself as Svikara Putran of Swami. And he graciously administered that Pancha Samskaram. The first kataksham that I got from him, the first grace, is still very green it is very fresh in my mind. The first day he taught me Guru Paramparai. On the day on which I got the Pancha Samskaram done, there were about 72 people who got Pancha Samskaram. And he was not prepared for that at all. He had brought a few books with Acharya, that is Guru Parampara Taniyan. He had brought a few books saying, okay, maybe some 10 people come here. But at that time, on a single day, there were 72 people. He was taken aback and he said, okay, I will give you all these 10 books, 10 or 12 books. You should distribute, you should share among yourselves. Unfortunately, I did not get any people who could share with me. The next day he asked me, did you recite Acharya Guru Parampara Taniya? I don't know what made him so keen about me, but that is when he asked me, did you recite Acharya Taniya? And I said, no, I did not get a book. He made me sit next to him and he taught me again. I remember that very keenly. That was the first kataksham. I don't know, out of all of 72, I don't know why he chose me, but that was a kataksham which changed me, which changed the life. After that, I could not meet that Swami again. That was the only time I met him. During the Pancha Samskaram, that was the only time I met him. After that, I wrote a letter to him. When I was about to join the company, I wrote a letter to him, like a friend, call it what you want. I wrote a letter to him saying, I have got an offer. I will send a Sambhavane to Swami. You should please accept this. And he said, okay. The first month I sent a Sambhavane. The second month, when I sent the Sambhavane, it came back to me saying there is no person to receive it. Later I learned that Swami had attained Paramapadam. He was waiting for me to give, he was waiting for the first Sambhavane as promised. That was a different thing. But that kataksham of that Swami worked wonders actually. The entire direction of my life changed after that. So after that, I actually came in touch with Vaduganambi Swami. That is when I came in touch with Vaduganambi Swami, Tata as I call him. And I started learning these things. And simultaneously I started learning about the Rahasyatrayam also. And then I was very keen on learning that as a grantham itself, like Mumukshupadi and stuff. That is when Ilayavilli Swami was doing the Upanyasams in Bangalore. He has been Ilayavilli Periya Swami, that is Ilayavilli Srinivasa Acharya Swami. He resided in Bangalore and he did a lot of Upanyasams in Yadugiri Yatiraja Matam. For more than 40 years he did the Upanyasams and kalakshepams there. And I used to make it a point to attend his Tirupavai Upanyasams every Margali. I would not fail to go there. And somehow I was drawn. The way he delivers those Upanyasams was mesmerizing for me. I started talking to him. I started requesting him for kalakshepams. That is when he said, for now, live kalakshepam will not be possible. You take this CD, I have told. You learn from this. And I started learning Mumukshupadi. I still consider that as Swami's grace. And I was still constantly keeping in touch with Swami till the end. Only when he moved to Alvarthinagari, I could not contact him very frequently. But while in Bangalore, I used to visit him very frequently. I mean, as and when it was possible. So he taught me about this Mumukshupadi and things. The other smaller things like the Guru Paramparai and things like this. And then I wanted to learn more. That is when I had a car. That was a very important thing in my life actually. I had a car. That car was exclusively used for Sri Vaishnavas only, I should say. For more than 80,000 kilometers, that car ran only for Sri Vaishnavas, exclusively. They transported all the Acharya Purushas, great Acharya Purushas. You name the Acharya Purusha these days, who is present today, almost most of them have traveled in that car. So every time those Acharya Purushas were traveling, they used to talk amongst themselves. That was a great learning for me. Sometimes when the Acharya Purusha would travel alone, I would ask them questions. And that also was a learning. In that way, I came across Devarajan Swami, K.B. Devarajan Swami. Casually, he used to attend, he used to give the upanyasams there. So I happened to meet him in person. And Swami was very gracious enough to ask me, what kalakshepams have you learnt? I will tell more. He was so gracious. Even there, I never asked. He was very keen. I said, okay, I've learned this Mumukshupadi. He said, okay, we will start. And he actually taught a lot of things. All of these rahasyas. And even as recently, when I was in Yatiraja Matam, he was delivering the Bhagavad Vishayam. But that is halfway through now. And even now he is teaching me some Divya Prabandhams like Tirunadandangam, Amalnadiviran, etc. So all of these Swami taught. And that is when I started, the learning curve actually started rising steep. That was a golden period, I should say. The learning curve was at its peak. I started learning a lot of things. People actually asked me, you are working, how are you able to balance? You are working and learning. And also, incidentally, at that same point in time, I was asked to do the Arayar Sevai in Kannan Sanidhi, the Krishna temple. That is because Vadugunambi Rangacharya Swami was doing the Arayar Sevai before me. And that is a temple built according to the Melkotai, the Tirunalapuram Sampradayam. The same system is followed there. So the Arayar Sevai also they wanted to show here. And Vadugunambi Rangacharya Swami was doing that Arayar Sevai. He said, Anna, now I cannot walk backwards. Now I am aged. You continue. That was another unforeseen bhagyam. That was a grace that he did, the supreme grace that he did. People say, Alvar says, Thamare Kandalal Nokkai. You should grace us with your vision. And in that point, in the Vyakhyanam, elders say that the younger Arayar Swami was saying, Thamare Kandalal Nokkai. And the elder Arayar said, only because he has graced you, you are standing in front of him. What else do you expect him to do? That was the supreme grace that Perumal did on me. I don't know for what. I stood in front of Perumal. I used to sing. But the thing is, I did not know all of those pastorals by heart. I put a lot of effort to by heart them. I sang in front of Perumal. All that happened. And later, I also wanted to learn, although I have learned Divya Prabandham from Vaduganambi Rangachar Swami, I wanted to learn that in the Divya Desham format, so that at least when I go to some place, some temple, if there is a goshti happening, I should be able to sit and recite with them. With that interest, I started learning. I requested Prativadi Bhayankaram Sampat Swami, Rajan Swami's brother, Sampat Swami. He graciously accepted and taught me a little bit of that Divya Desham style of reciting. So at that point in time, people used to ask me, as I said, how do you balance all of these? And my answer was the same. Krishna is balancing all of this. I am not doing anything. Where he is keeping, I am staying. In fact, Bangalore is notorious for travel time, right? For all the traffic, for all the travel time. But Perumal had kept me in such a place that I used to travel only for less than half an hour and come back. So what do I do in the remaining time? I used to spend that in the temple and with Swami, Vaduganambi Swami. Vaduganambi Rangachar Swami, he attained Paramapadam in 2017 December. Till then, I used to learn from him. Till the last days, I used to learn from him. And that continued. Although I learned from Devarajan Swami and all, I still used to learn from him. So the learning was all parallel. I was trying to get as much as possible in as short a period of time. And after about 2018 or so, Yatiraja Jiyar Swami, Vartamana Swami of Yadagiri Yatiraja Matam, he said, how long are you going to work? Leave all of them and come to me. Emberwana will take care of you. But unfortunately, I was ready for it, but I had another commitment. I had to close a loan. So I said, Swami, whatever it takes to close the loan, allow me to do that, and then I will be in your service. I did exactly that. In fact, it so happened that I did not leave the job left me. The company people, they said, do you please walk away? I just walked away. And I never looked back again. I came and started serving in Yadugiri Yatiraja Matam. That was another golden time. Because Yatiraja Jiyar Swami taught lot of nuances in Kainkaryam. He was the one who engaged me in Kainkaryam. He taught a lot of nuances while doing Kainkaryam, how I should conduct myself, how I should be, what I should do, what I should not do. All of those were very beautifully taught by Swami. I am deeply indebted to all of these Swamis whom I mentioned. And now I am in Kanchipuram. In fact, Swami did not want me to move to Kanchi. When I requested him, he said, no, you stay here in Bangalore. I want you to be here. But unfortunately, my Acharya did not have anyone to serve him. Not even one single person to serve him. So I said, at least here there are 2-3 people. There is not even one person there. So I should move and I should serve him. You should kindly accept. He said, okay, so be it. Do the service well. That is his message. And I moved to Kanchipuram. Now I stay in Kanchi serving my Acharya, Vartamana Jiyar Swami.
This, when he says your Acharya, that is the Jiyar Swami who succeeded Devarir's
yes.
Acharya.
Yes.
Okay.
Now when I say Acharya Swami, it is the person who is in the Vartamana. I also want to add one thing. During my stay in Yadugiri Yatiraja Matam, the Asthana Vidwan, Sriman U.Ve Rangaramanuja Swami, he was very gracious enough to teach me all the Vedanta Granthas, like the Sri Bhashyam and all the Veda, the Upanishads, all of these Granthas, he was very gracious enough to teach. He used to be very particular about my presence. He said, Srinivasan, you should not move away. You should not go to any temple. You should not go for any other work. As long as I'm telling you, you should sit here. He was very particular about my presence, and that is the amount of affection that all of those Swamis have shown. And in the meanwhile, I actually started learning Bhagavad Vishayam from Gomatam Sambat Kumaracharya Swami, somewhere around 2012 or sometime around that, or 13, or when he was conducting the Bhagavad Vishayam in Tiruvallikeni, as I also registered for online kalakshepam. Just I completed about Tirupallandu in Kannishiratambu when Velukudi Swami intervened and said, first finish Sri Bhashyam and then come to Bhagavad Vishayam. Only then you will be able to appreciate how Alvar has given us this nectar of Tiruvaimozhi. Otherwise you will not be able to appreciate. You will be able to learn but not appreciate the true value of it. So I took that seriously. I started doing a course in I started doing the Shiromani course, but that was a time period when I was working actually. So somehow there was this flood in Chennai which disrupted my schedule, the exam schedule. Then they announced exams at a different time. I could not go. That discontinued. Somehow that discontinued. I learnt for about 2 years. But I learned from a Vidwan called Needamangalam Lakshmi Narasimhacharya Swami there. He used to teach me all the granthas, all the Sampradaya granthas alone. He used to teach alone. All the subjects that I had, he used to teach me alone. And he was gracious enough to complete that in spite of not attending the exams. He said, okay, leave the exams, at least complete the books, granthas. And he did that for me. So all of these Mahans, they have been instrumental in bringing me and placing me where I am today.
Actually, while speaking about your childhood, they were mentioned that, I was not eligible to be called a Vaishnava or Shiva Vaishnava. So, going by that, when would Devarir call someone a Shiva Vaishnava? I mean, what is a major quality or aspect of life which makes a person a Shiva Vaishnava, according to Devarir's view?
Sure. I think it is already shown by our acharyas that the true knowledge about self, the Sheshatva Jnanam and its Anushtanam, is what makes a person Sri Vaishnava. External insignia can be there, but the internal qualities also have to be developed. Both together make a person Sri Vaishnava. So I would call myself a Sri Vaishnava only after 2010.
So it's basically the knowledge of being the servant of the Lord. I mean, yes. Bhagavan. Sheshatva Jnanam. Yes, Adiyan. Swami Adiyan have also heard that Devarir is quite proficient in yoga. Can Devarir, just explain how it happened?
Yeah, I was very interested in yoga from childhood, and I started learning on my own, seeing books initially. The thing that actually attracted me towards yoga was the word Iyengar yoga. B.K. Iyengar used to show that. Oh, I thought, okay, this yoga is for Iyengars. That is how I started getting attracted to it, and later it had a totally different impact altogether, because at one point in time my health was also not so great. I had this asthma, severe asthma. I could not even breathe properly if I climbed about 10 steps. That was the state in which I was. And then I decided, okay, yoga should be the way out. I started learning, and it actually took off when I started working in Mysore. I learned yoga. Mysore is called the yoga capital actually. And I started learning it traditionally in the sense as told in the general scriptures, not in the Sri Vaishnava scriptures. I learned all the asanas, pranayamas, kriyas, all of those yama niyamas as they teach, dhyana, all of these I learned. But then I thought, okay, this is not for Sri Vaishnavas. This is not how, the way they take yoga is not in our Sampradayam. What, there should be something else. If there are people, if there are acharyas who were called as yogis like Nathamunigal, Kurgai Kavalapan, all of those acharyas were called yogis and they have practiced. So there should be something else. And that is when I started looking into the texts. And I found a lot of things. By Acharyan's grace, by Acharyan's instructions, I got a lot of things. And I developed on that. I started learning how it is there in the Sampradayam. And while in Yadugiri Tirajamatam, G.R. Swamy, while I was serving there, G.R. Swamy was keen on publishing many courses, short-term courses for people who can benefit from these kind of scriptures. So I thought, why not? There is a misconception of yoga in the current day scenario. People think yoga is not for Sri Vaishnavas. So why not introduce this as a concept? And I put up a few courses on the Yatiraja Meda Multiversity, saying I started it as Ahara Niyamam and then slowly diverted that to yoga in a traditional approach. So that is how I did. I used to teach. While in Mysore, I used to teach yoga to people. I used to conduct regular classes. While in Bangalore also, I conducted that for some time. Now I have totally discontinued teaching asanas to the public. I am just by G.R. Swamy's instructions, Yadagiri G.R. Swamy's instructions, I am just involving a very small closed group who actually attended that course, and I am just discussing with them a few concepts.
Okay. So if I could ask, what is the role that yoga would play in a Sri Vaishnava's life? If Devari can, slightly elaborate it.
Sure. A Sri Vaishnava's life, the Sri Vaishnava's life actually revolves around yoga. Even the most recent podcast that you put up as a day in life of a Sri Vaishnava, it talks about the fifth kala called yoga. Yoga is popularly translated as asanas and pranayama and a few kriyas, but that is not all.
Yes.
Yoga is just being in union with Perumal. That has to happen to a Sri Vaishnava at all times. I actually had the bhagyam. I actually had that fortune of going through that podcast, and you have beautifully told, Devari has beautifully told how although the Panchakala is divided into 5 parts, all of those are integrated in the entire day. One major part of it was concentrated part of it was that. So that way yoga actually is very much, I should say, entwined in the life of a Sri Vaishnava. There is no life without yoga. Because for a Sri Vaishnava, Sheshatvam is the Swarupam. That is, his identity is being servant to Perumal, Bhagavat. When he is doing that service, if he is not mindful of that, if he is not keeping Perumal in his mind, what use is his service? If a person is worshipping Perumal in a temple or in his house, if his mind is not there, if he is not able to contemplate on the qualities of Perumal, if he is not able to remember the pastimes of Perumal, of what use is the upacharams that he is giving? That is of no use at all. That becomes a routine job. So in that sense, yoga is very much the life. It is very much a lifestyle for a Sri Vaishnava. It is a mandatory lifestyle for a Sri Vaishnava.
I think we can make a whole podcast episode regarding yoga and Sri Vaishnavism. Okay. Swami, I would, like you to advise Sri Vaishnava beginners regarding what they can do.
Sri Vaishnava what?
Beginners. Those who are interested in learning Sri Vaishnavism. Like, you had the opportunity to learn from so many people. And for many youngsters, who are, just trying to understand Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam and all, what would you have advise? What would be one thing that they must surely concentrate on?
I think it is most important for them to learn the basics of Sri Vaishnavism by approaching elders around them, learned scholars around them, and questioning them, seeking to know things. while seeking to know things, they should remember that they should not be challenging the other person, but actually genuinely have that fire in the belly, as they say, to know things and learn. That genuine learning desire is what is most important. If that is there, I think all the others will fall in place. Perumal will take care of showing the people also.
Again, one thing I didn't find is people are more interested in kriyas, or rather having panchasamskara done. I have done some kriya and it's okay, but Adian have found that in all our granthas the emphasis is given on knowledge. Jnanan mokshamagayale manasamaha kadavad. So it is knowledge that you must gain, and that knowledge must be transformed into action. That is the most important part that sometimes Adian feel is missing. Kind of the emphasis is not being given by people coming new. All they want is they need to get panchasamskaram, and they feel that I've got panchasamskaram, so everything is done.
Yes.
Has Devarir anything to say about that?
I just happened to come across one instance where the Acharya Purushan, while doing the Panchasamskaram, in fact that was done in Yadagiri G.R. Swami Matam also, where Swami told, when they have come for Panchasamskaram, before Swami arrived for the entire process, he said, go and talk about what is the significance of this. Make them understand why they are here first. I think that small part may be missing in many places. If that is taken care of, if they are made to know why they are here, what actually is Panchasamskaram, why it is important, and then give them the access to the materials.
Yes.
That actually helps them. Because, of course, they are ignorant, so they do not know. We cannot completely blame them also.
Not at all. Actually, it is a responsible of the Acharya. The Acharya, by definition, is the one who must disseminate knowledge.
Yes.
So it is not, Adian is not at all blaming the Shishyas approaching. Yeah. Yes, Adian. But sometimes Adian feel that, I met some person who had taken Panchasamskara, or not a person, many people who cannot name the 5 samskaras. There are 5 samskaras which we call Panchasamskaras. They are not even able to name those 5 samskaras. So Adian would like to emphasize the fact that we must learn a lot.
Yeah, I would say I have constantly told all the people whom I come across, and I would always say contemplation is of utmost importance. Without contemplating on what we learn, there is no use learning 100 things. Even if we learn 1 or 2 things, we should contemplate and imbibe it. It should be a part of our life. Whatever little that we learn, that should be a part of life. That is how we progress.
Adian. Sometimes Adian have told this in many of Adian's lectures that the Shiva Vaishnava lifestyle is more of a mindset.
Yes.
Maybe we are doing the same kriyas as other people, but the difference comes in the mindset. Because we are doing it as complete service to Bhagavan without expecting any result. And so maybe the kriya is same. Maybe we are doing Sandhya Vandanam, a person from another Sampradayam will also be doing Sandhya Vandanam. The difference there is the mindset with which they do and we do. Right. Maybe some person may be doing that to wash away his sins, but we do that only to please Bhagavan. So it is very important to emphasize the mindset with which we have to do every action. Slight differences in the mindset will bring differences in that action itself.
Definitely.
Adian. Swamy, there are many things that we can go on discussing about, but people have limitations to their attention span. So let's end this episode now. It's been a great pleasure having a conversation with Devarir, and I think it would be very inspirational to a lot of youngsters who are trying to learn Sampradayam. I think the emphasis was given on learning. They were mentioning about so many acharyas teaching so many things, and so Adin would think that this podcast episode would be helpful to many people. Thanks a lot for coming to our podcast. I just want to tell the audience that Swami had come to Srirangam to attend the festival going on here. It's a very important festival in Sampradayam, which is called Panguni Uttaram. It comes in the month of Phalguna, and the nakshatram is Uttara Phalguni nakshatram. So on that day, the Ranganatha Swami and Ranganachyar, that is Ranganayaki, both of them come together, and it was at that point of time that Ramanujacharya Swamiji had done Sharanagati towards them. So Swami had come there. He has had a very hectic day or hectic couple of days, and so we just made some time. Actually, Swami made some time to have this podcast done. Thank you very much for coming, Swami. Again,
Swami, I should thank you for hosting me in this episode, and that was a great pleasure talking to you. I am not even eligible to sit next to you, but I have had this great opportunity. I have had this great fortune. Thank you.
Adiyan Ramanujadasan, Swami. Adiyan.